All right, good evening. This is Bill Perugini, and this is the October 11, 2022 meeting of the Mooring Committee of the Harbor Management Commission. With me today, I have Chairman Kim Taylor, I've got Harbor Master Brian Leclerc, and I've got Commissioner Jeff Warren, and on the line we have Pat Carroll and Jeff Stedman. I guess we'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if everyone will stand. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I will call the meeting to order at 5:32 p.m. The first item on the agenda will be the Harbor Master's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All is relatively quiet at the harbor as fall sets in. No major incidents to report. Just last weekend, a couple of boats got tangled up with the sailboats. Small ideals got tangled up with the mooring lines. So we were able to free them with the assistance of the club and their boats. So between the two of us, we got them loose again. No damage done. We have one gentleman who upgraded to a larger boat, and he did notify us. We will be able to accommodate him next year. We did have that storm a couple of weeks ago, as you know, with the winds. I sent emails out to everyone, just reminding them to make sure their boats and dinghies and things are secured. Luckily, it wasn't quite as bad as the weather predicted. Nothing dragged, no damage was done anywhere, so that was very successful. Boats are starting to come out, but boats are also starting to come in because this week is the J109 Regatta, and there's probably 20 boats out there racing. I think they started today, I believe, and they're racing this week at the National Regatta. They've got them staged at the dock at Pequot, and the moorings close. They've moved a few boats around. It's all good, plenty of room for everyone. And it's kind of an exciting event to have a national regatta right out of our little south ports. If you get down there, you'll see them racing over the next couple of days. Take a look at them. They're going to be a little bit offshore. They're racing a couple of miles offshore with the course. I think one of the buoys is like 3 miles out, so it's not a close-to-shore race. But that's a fun event. We have received information. I know the chairman received it, as myself, from Jeff Engborg at the Yacht Club. We requested a value to be put on as to all the moorings and helix anchors that we own there. So total parts is about $139,000. If we had to reinstall everything, it would be about $14,000. So a worst case scenario of replacing all of our tackle is about $153,000. That's a good number, that we have that number at least and can put it aside. This is a helix year, as you may remember. So at the end of the season, the chains will be dropped at the north mooring area and all the east wall, west wall, town quote moorings to the bottom. The balls will be taken in as replaced as necessary, and there'll be a helix inspection done. Some will be pulled out randomly. The rest are going to be inspected with a diver. Next year, it's a town mooring maintenance year. We also talked a little bit about the mooring balls and possibly switching to the styrofoam balls from the round balls. And as we start replacing them, there are a few in the harbor already I'm looking at. The advantage being with a styrofoam ball, there's no chance of banging it on a boat. But more important, you could take your bridles and put them in the storage area at the top of them, in the lip of it, so they're not in the water, and there's less of a chance of them getting tangled if you take your line off and drop it right there when you're done. So they seem to, the club seems to think that may be a good way to go when we're replacing something more modern and better for our harbor. So I'm going to look at them a little more, and we'll chat with you folks about it. And I can report that there is 3 feet of mud at the dinghy dock area. I've measured it. I also went out there and measured this weekend at the very low tide on Sunday, the channel, because we got a complaint. One gentleman told me he bumped ground going out by number 9 on his sailboat on Saturday at low tide, and the club also thought there might be an issue. So I dropped measured lines in repeatedly. The only low depths I found, I hit 7 feet by can number 9, if you were within a few feet of it. So that's on the right side by the coast, the USGS buoys. So if you stay centered in the channel, you'll be more than fine. I checked the other side more carefully coming in on the red, by the red nuns. Everything looked good there. The only other low spot was adjacent, if you are probably 3 or 4 feet, maybe 5 feet from the fishing pier, I hit 5 feet at low tide.
That was dead low tide?
Dead low. It's astronomical, even super low tide. It was with the moon, so it's low tide.
And Brian, that was 7 feet by Can 9 at low tide.
Can 9 at low tide, but then as soon as you went a few feet away, more than 4 or 5 feet away from it, you're fine. So unless you were really, and no one should be hugging it that close with a sailboat with that kind of a keel. That's really pressing the channel. If you come in with the white ones in the, by the speed markers, the 2 white ones, as you know, if you just put your boat between them and head out up the middle, everyone's fine.
But it was 5 feet off the pier?
Off the pier, if you were very close.
If you're close.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
The other side was fine. Going off the yacht club, it really drops there quite a bit.
Off the country club?
Country club, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
country club, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did hit 5 feet of water as I was close to the old fishing pier.
Wow.
So it's a little bit shallow there. But again, if you moved I don't know if a boat would go in that close, or should be that close to it. So this is kind of my measurements. I just had I had a weight and a 300-foot, as the club let me borrow their equipment, they just have a 300-foot tape measure. And that seems to work out the best from a small boat. It's more accurate than electronics. Do it the old-fashioned way, drop a weighted line. There was no current, no wind, so it was easy on the whaler just to stand there and drop a line. So
interesting.
It was worth doing. I've never done that before. I think it's something we'll do periodically to keep an eye on everything.
Any other questions for the harbor master? So when you mentioned it's a helix year?
I'm sorry. So the helix that's a good point. There's 3 sections. There's the North Anchorage past the yacht club where the Pequot manages the boats. We give them the 70 permits. They manage the boats there, the assignment of the boats. We have no say in the assignment. We just keep registrations, insurance, safe boating certificates. We give them the stickers. They give me spreadsheets throughout the summer for all those boats. So if something happened, I'll know whose boat it is. And they're very good about that. Everything's worked out fine. They're very cooperative with that. The other anchorages are the ones on the country club side, the row on the country club all the way in to the yacht club. The ones on the Harbor Road side all the way in past Ye Yacht Yard. And then the few of them, the Levy Smith area, kind of, you know where my boat is? My sailboat?
I do, yeah.
A few boats past those area, that's the west wall. And the helixes are those 3 rows of about 18 of them off of Perry Green. Not Perry Green itself, but the larger sailboats.
Okay.
Perry Green. They're helixes. Helixes are the ones that are, screwed in. So because you have 3 sections, every 3rd year, there's a major maintenance done on one of them where literally you pull all of the mushrooms. Last year, the North Anchorage was done. So over the winter, they pulled every one of those mushroom anchors out. And I went and inspected them with the club, and they were tagged as to which ones needed repair or replacement. And they were repaired or replaced in the off-season and put in the spring. This year, it's a helix year where they don't pull them out because of where they're affixed. But they'll pull a couple out, it's my understanding, just to test them, and they send a diver in to look at the rest.
Got it. So each year will be a different year that you
inspect. Right, next year
inspect.
All the other ones. And for the ones that are not inspected, what they do the proper thing. Like chains rust if you take them out of the water. So what they do instead is instead of pulling them every year, they actually drop the chains right in place. Take the mooring balls out, disconnect the chains and drop them, and then they know where the ends are by taking GPS coordinates. So in the spring, they just put a grapple down, pick up one end, and they trace it back. So by letting the chains fall into the mud, which we know there's mud in the channel, they're preserved. They won't rust because they're sitting in the water. So it's a good system. That you get into trouble if you take them out too much. You get into the air because you need air to
oxidize. Yeah. So that's what rusts it with the oxidization, I guess.
So it's good, and they're very conservative. The ones we looked at last year, they marked before they had me come out, and it was a very conservative maintenance of when to replace and fix things. Instead of airing, maybe we can get 3 more years. We should be fine. If there's any doubt, just do it. Replace weld on what needs to be welded, fix things, shackles, whatever you need to do. So this way it protects. All you need is one loose boat, as you know, to do a lot of damage barreling down the channel in a high wind. So
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Thank you. And in terms of the price for the replacement of the tackle is $153,000?
Yeah,
And so the 139 covered
the parts,
just the parts?
yes.
And then the
It's,
14?
for 150 moorings at 20 feet. Those are just the town moorings, not the yacht club's, North Anchorage moorings. But the 105 moorings, shackles, 300 shackles, 300-pound mushroom anchors, 89 of those, 20 helix anchors, bridles, buoys, miscellaneous hardware. So if we wanted to go in there and say we wanted to take all the town-owned moorings out and replace them, that's what it would cost. Parts and labor, $153,266.
And that's all
Why not include the anchorage, because that's the town technically owns those.
No, we don't own those. The yacht club owns that.
They own them?
They own it.
And the $14,000 was for labor? Is that what the?
Labor was $14,175,
Got it.
at $45 an hour. So it's good. It's a good number. That came up with the Harbor Management Commission last month to get an idea about what the replacement cost is of these items. What's it worth?
Right.
You have for budgetary and just for general purposes.
Great. Any other questions for the harbor master? Okay, great. The next item is the deputy harbor master search update. That's on me. I collected the feedback from those who I circulated it to. I reached out to Betty. I think the next step is to work with her to publish it accordingly and get the appropriate link so that when somebody...
Yeah, and I'm getting concerned because Brian starts to work with the online mooring system in January, and we need to have the deputy at least, even if he only sits and watches Brian, he needs to be on board by January. And with the election
But I can teach you. I thought about that. My own boat, for instance, if I'm the last one assigned, I just won't assign my mooring to myself. And I can show them how. If you do one, you can do them all.
Sure.
So it's not. I'll just save
But
one whenever we do it.
But it's the other pieces that go along with it.
It's the other pieces that go with it, how to understand it. And there is, I forgot to mention, there's a seminar that I'm attending next month, an online mooring.
Great.
A morning and afternoon seminar. Just can't hurt to go over everything again with them.
No.
Online mooring seminar?
Yeah.
And where's that being?
It's virtual.
Got it. But who's hosting it?
Online mooring.
Online mooring.
Oh, that's
Our vendor.
okay.
Online mooring is the vendor we use.
Got it.
For our software.
Got it.
Mooring management.
So what's the plan for the deputy harbor master?
So what we need to do is start recruiting for it, publishing the notice,
Right.
the job description, which
Right.
we already put together, and then publicizing that, I think, through the website and through the various media that we discussed last time, and then I guess begin the interview process.
Right. I sent you the resumes, I believe, of the two gentlemen whose names were also included.
I sent you the one who reached out to me as well.
Right,
That
one reached
gentleman
out,
reached
yeah,
out to me.
Yeah.
but there is another one who,
Yeah.
And I've been spreading the word myself, and I had a gentleman reach out to me also, so we could start with those.
People that have asked us
Yeah.
me about it, what's involved, and they hear rumblings about it. It's good.
Yeah. So I've reached out to Betty. I guess when she connects back with me, I could circulate that accordingly and attach the link on the website and through the other various...
have you given her the blurb that goes on the website? Because she needs that.
I'll have to check.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I've been traveling like mad over the past 4 weeks, so I've been away literally more than I've been home, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that upon my arrival home, I think it was on Thursday or Friday evening, I was driving back from somewhere yes, the harbor master took the opportunity to take me on a tour of the harbor and show me all the relevant sites.
And he had a high tide, the benefit of a full high tide
lovely.
when we were up there, so we got to go all the way up to Tide Mill, and if any of you ever want to come,
You didn't show them the mud?
It was high tide.
Next time I'll let him get out.
So it was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a beautiful afternoon.
I think, yeah.
Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
warm
so
Friday.
I pivoted and got home in time, and so thank you for that.
My pleasure.
But yeah, so I guess we'll circle back with Betty and cross the T's and
Yeah,
dot the
you
I's.
need to give her the statement that goes on the website and that gets published. And then she creates the link to all the various sites, to the HMC website, which will have the job description.
So you have to send her the job description to them.
So she needs the job description and the blurb. and you need to have a deadline by which resumes come in.
Right, I think I prepared that. I believe I'll have to check back.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
think I circulated that.
But, I mean, I can't imagine that you couldn't get it done within the next month.
I think we can. I don't think it'll be a problem. I
Yeah,
think the
yeah.
challenge would be recruiting. Well, we have a few candidates already. It would be,
Madam Chairman, what do you want for your interview period? I guess you should discuss when you want
Well,
the deadline.
we had it open for 2 weeks, and that was it.
And then you interviewed over the next month?
We interviewed as quickly as we
You
could
did?
get people
Okay,
together.
I wasn't sure, okay.
Yeah,
So basically posted for 2 weeks and then just,
only 2 weeks?
yeah.
You don't think it would behoove us to do it more than 2 weeks?
for this
How
position?
many?
Okay.
No, it gets old. It gets
If you're
old.
gonna apply, you see it, if you want it, you're going
Yeah.
to do it at that
Sure.
point. 'Cause you-
And should somebody see it late and get the letter, get their resume to you late, then you can the committee can make a decision about whether or not they want to treat that person differently. But
Okay.
no, I would limit it to 2 weeks, and then
How many candidates did we have last time?
very few.
Yeah.
But one extremely qualified one.
Very extremely, very extremely,
We didn't get 'em.
very extremely.
Extraordinarily qualified. But given that we only had a couple candidates, you don't think it would behoove us to leave the recruitment period open longer than 2 weeks? Okay.
No, you'll
Okay.
have thousands, no, I don't think.
Okay.
Because I'm quite confident that the people who are interested will apply immediately.
Okay.
And this is not about boiling the ocean, this is about finding, three names.
Don't sell it short.
No, I like
Three names,
Right.
3 names, you're not hiring, you are only identifying 3 people for the governor to hire. The governor can make his own decision. Our obligation is simply to provide him with 3 names.
With a recommendation for one, yeah.
Jeff is gonna answer.
Can I interrupt, Kim?
Yeah, certainly. Mr. Stedman, please,
Yeah.
please do.
Yeah, what the commission has always done and what other towns have done when there are 3 names is to identify the preferred candidate and why that candidate is the preferred candidate. And all the recent experience has been that the governor has appointed that person. And then recently the governor's office told us that they understand that not in every instance may a commission, any harbor commission, be able to find 3 qualified candidates. And I don't think that would be an issue here. But if it did turn out that way, and you only had 1 candidate, then the governor would accept that, along with a statement that you attempted to find 3 names. So it's not absolutely necessary to submit 3 names if you don't have them. But and the governor should appoint. We would expect the preferred candidate.
But essentially, we're submitting our nomination for the leading candidate. And what you're saying is it would be ideal if we provided the governor with 3 for his appointment.
You have to give him 3 names if you have 3 names. And then you say, here's the 3 top candidates we would recommend that you appoint Mr. or Mrs. A, B, or C.
Okay.
For the reasons why, yes.
Sure. And so we wouldn't select just 1, we would submit 3 nominees, is what you're saying?
Well, as Jeff said, it depends on the qualifications. If
Right.
you find that you've got 1 person who knows the harbor and 9 people who don't even know what a boat is, I mean, you're obviously not gonna recommend anyone from that nine group.
Right,
So-
but that being said, would we submit 3 names and have the governor select 1? We'd submit our lead candidate.
If you had 3 candidates, arguably could do it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you had 2 that can do it and the rest that were unqualified for whatever reason, you would submit 2. And I suppose if you had 1 who was qualified, there's 9 who didn't know a boat from a golf cart.
Right.
And would be unqualified, then you would just submit the 1 name.
And this is for a deputy, this is not for the harbor.
Yeah, understood,
So-
understood. Yeah, but let's say we identified we get 5 resumes and there's 3 that are well qualified. We'll select among the 3 and give our recommendation, or we just submit the 3 names?
You have to say, this is our number 1
Got
choice.
it, okay.
Yeah.
But they prefer that we submit 3 in spite of our number 1 choice. Okay, understood. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because you're not.
That's what the statute says, yes.
That's what the statute says, and the governor is the one that makes the decision.
Right.
The governor does his own vetting process. I had to go through that interview process as well with forms through his counsel's office, background checks, and a big questionnaire because you're a state official. They want
Yeah.
to make sure that, nothing was missed.
Right. I would presume, though, there would be a lot of weight given to the committee's selection.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I assume, because as Jeff said, it's always worked that way. And the
Yeah.
other thing that we've done in the past is then we've taken the nominee and we've gone to the first select person and said, would you write a letter on this person's behalf to the governor and just say you're on board with this whole process?
Your top candidate to lobby for him or herself, as I did, would have letters written by representatives or senators or other people, attesting to your qualifications.
Yeah.
So the governor is comfortable in appointing someone he's never met. I've never met the governor.
Sure.
But if you have state reps and first select woman recommending you, that gives him the confidence that, this is not someone who's going to embarrass the state or the administration or do something wrong.
Right. Ultimately, it's his appointment, but the
Absolutely.
weight of the committee and the endorsements, makes sense.
Exactly. So you're just doing the screening, which gives you some relief, right? Because you're not making the ultimate decision. You are simply identifying the qualified candidates who you think would do the best job.
Right. Makes sense. Does anyone have any other comments to add? Okay, next we'll move on to new business. I don't believe that there is any. Okay, so that.
Questions from the public?
Any questions from the public? Mr. Carroll, do you have any questions?
You might have muted. Did you mute everyone?
Oh.
You might have muted Mr. Carroll. Hold on. He might not be
Oh,
able to.
let's do a star.
Hold on, Pat.
Let's do a star. Are there any questions or comments from the public?
Thank you for excusing me from attending in person, so I didn't have to drive on the thruway.
Oh, God, Jeff.
Wasn't very nice.
Well, it's great to have you nonetheless, Jeff.
Thanks.
All right, that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn? Chairman Taylor?
Yep.
A second? Mr. Warren? The meeting will be adjourned at 5:45 p.m. on October 11th. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, everyone.